And then he said, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills.
I can't catch a break, guys.
Yeah.
Get them the fuck away from me. I can't be around those guys.
People think, oh, well, cleaning your room, that's just a cliche. It's like, yeah, really, eh? Just go ahead and try it.
If people had any idea how powerful sleep is for healing from anything, and the fact that it's free.
My mind is absolutely bulletproof, solid as a rock.
Podcast. Alright guys, welcome to today's podcast. Today's podcast is going to be about the big reopening that has taken place in just 8 days on the 7th of June. It's been a really difficult year for most small businesses, especially the gym industry. We've been closed for many months, seems like years, but we have taken quite an uncommon approach to the lockdowns. Instead of kind of shrinking, we've actually expanded our studio. So we have a new facility opening up just 500 meters away, the Fine Fit High Performance Unit, and the goal for that really is to really give you guys, really give our coaches a blank canvas to really kind of be a little more creative, to get all the bells and whistles, use all the bits of equipment that we wanted to use here, but we couldn't due to lack of space. So that's going to be the topic of the podcast for today. So before we get stuck into it, I just want to welcome you two guys to the podcast, and just think, how has the last few months been for you guys in relation to the lockdown, the closures, working online with COVID, all that good stuff?
I liked it at the start.
Same.
At the start, I was actually really enthusiastic about it, and I found that it was a nice change of pace, and Zoom was, it was our saving grace. And then as human contact became more and more scarce, and the lockdowns went on and didn't seem to be ending anytime soon. Coaching's just it's more of an in-person thing, I think. Not coaching, maybe like actual physical training coaching is better one-on-one or in person, and so doing it online it's a very limited experience in comparison. But it was great, and I tell you what, there was definitely some very, very inspirational people, and there's been some people who took the ball by the horns, took full advantage, and honestly did amazing stuff. People on the Kickstarters, it's been 16 months, 15 months, something like that, 14 months
since the initial lockdown. Jesus, what was it? March, April, May, yeah, 15 months anyway.
So it's been 15 months, and there's literally been people that have changed their life around. Pete, the camera guy, for one.
Yeah. Shout out to Pete.
Shout out to Pete. Go on.
What is Pete? He's over 50 pounds this year or something?
25 kilo, yeah.
25 kilos.
Absolute machine. This is it. It was great to get to be a part of people's experience and to get to support people in a time when I really feel like they needed it most. But in terms of the job that I love doing, is it was a different experience. It was a fraction of that experience and a fraction of that job. It was just a very small part of it on repeat. And something I just found social media just became so engrossed in my life. I'm one for kind of post and drop, and I might if I'm living my life I might think post, but then just everything just became about social media, because that's how you had to reach out to people, that's how you had to communicate with people. It was just very virtual. It wouldn't be my first preference.
Yeah. Gotcha. Chris?
I'm basically the same sort of deal. It was really good at the start. There was a lot of enthusiasm behind it, being like, oh, we can do this and all that jazz, and then it slowly started to just wane. If you were just dropping out of classes, getting felt, the online class just aren't for me. And then so we're like, oh, I think they're great. And then there's some of the members who literally don't know any better because they signed up during it and they just love it. And you can really see the difference between all those three sort of types of clients. And then the best thing about it, I think, was just some people it didn't affect them at all. They stayed consistent, they focused on nutrition, and the workouts were like, oh, it's the best part of my day. I have my own little section sort of out for it. But what we signed up for as coaches was the human interaction. That's why that was number one for me. When I first started as a coach, that was a big hurdle. I had to be way more social, way more personable, and then I got way better at it, and then it became the best part of the job. And then it was just sort of taken away, and then everyone's through Zoom and text and communication, and having little wins, and a fat loss journey is very emotional and very psychological, and it's like you don't get to experience the same highs as you're like when you're coaching someone, Joe, and they win. It's like you win as well, and then when they win and it's through text, oh, they're great. It's like it doesn't hit. It's not as punchy. Do you know what I mean? It's not as memorable.
As well as that, what I was going to say, I feel like people really enjoy exercising and really like coming into the studio, but I find obviously it's all the other bits that people struggle with and need help accountable with. So when the system's set up now the way it is, like it's really like it's putting a lot of the onus on them to be accountable. You know, is where if somebody calls in here for a workout, I can almost get them, like I can get them there, I can nab them there because and maybe a couple of times a week, and that I find that's a lot more effective than, you know, just the messages. Whereas you know, they can ignore a message, like especially nowadays. Like one thing I found, like on my phone, like I literally have like 100 notifications a day, whereas I used to have maybe 20 a day. You know, so it's like the amount of interaction that happens online is really it's
quadrupled.
It's quadrupled, yeah. And so it just makes that like everyone is almost a little bit less valuable. You know what I mean? So whereas a post, you know, used to mean something, it's like now it feels like it's lost that kind of impact because it's drowned out because everybody's screaming at the one time now trying to get their voice heard, and so then, you know, it's not as effective. But again, like I said, you can't beat that one-on-one personal accountability from a coach, and so it's like, yeah, it's like I feel like some people are really missing that, and some people really needed it.
Yeah, of course. What I really enjoyed about the last year was again is the mindset shift that was forced upon us, and for me anyway, the kind of concept of becoming anti-fragile was the main driver. And the concept of an anti-fragile, for anyone who's not aware, is like when pressure is applied, you actually get stronger. So my goal for this was to come through this period with a better business, with a better service, with better results, with better systems. You get what I'm saying? Because of the pressure that was applied, instead of allowing it to make us crumble, we actually thrived. We grew our business a little bit last year.
I know, it was so impressive.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, but again, and it's that same concept again applied to many of the clients, because to their credit, like most businesses, you know, it hit us hard in the first couple of months, but then you got this core group of people who are down to genuinely through their actions, through their words, the ride or die. But these people adapted and overcame. You get what I'm saying? And just adapted the situation, and a lot of the feedback and the gratitude from the clients was like, oh my god, like thank you guys so much for not abandoning us. You know what I mean? Whereas a lot of people just shut down. It's like, yeah, we'll see you in a few months when we're back open. Whereas what we done was we looked at the landscape and said, okay, what is the best possible service that we can offer right now? And we offer that service. As far as I know, I don't think anybody was offering, you know, 6 live sessions every single day, getting up at 5:30, doing sessions at 6:15, you know, monthly goal reviews with clients, check-ins, you know, and the amount of content that we created over the last year, you know, was at a scale that I haven't seen anybody else do. You get what I'm saying? So we just went out of our way to hopefully over deliver, and hopefully the client's seen the value in that. 'Cause I think that is one of the hardest things is with online, because it can seem a little bit more impersonal, because there's a lot of people that have, I feel, reduced the value of coaching by making it automated, by making an app, by trying to make it too much virtual, by trying to eliminate a lot of the work. And online is fantastic because you can scale yourself by building amazing systems. But I said the key is like, but how do I keep it personable? How do I keep online coaching personal? And I feel that's where the main challenge is. And I feel like we've done a good job of it. But again, for some people, and again, it obviously depends on the personality, but to some extent I believe it is a limiting belief that online's just not for me. Yeah. It's like maybe challenges just aren't for you. Maybe adapting and overcoming isn't for you. Maybe you just wanted a get out of jail free card. Maybe you just wanted an out.
I know absolutely, like that was the case with some people. But like and it was like, oh, this is I get to take a break now.
But I don't even think it's that. It's the fact that those people are only interested in making progress when it is convenient. And so it's like it's the fact of, it's not even so, like I said, it's not even so much as like that they wanted the easy break. It's just that they are not wholeheartedly committed to the progress.
Or I would say not to the committed to the goal, because that's the thing. Exactly, it's like for a lot of people, it's like the goal remains the same. Yeah. It's like we got to adapt the strategy now, and again, through no fault of our own. Yeah. And said we've tried to do our best to kind of make it as good as possible. And I feel it's paid dividends. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Because we grew a little bit, and we're going to open now on the 7th. With a full membership, busier than we've ever been.
Yeah, people really want it now. That was something I thought was very, very interesting as well around the start of COVID, was how how in demand it just seemed that health and fitness became.
Yeah.
Like where before it kind of seemed like, oh, I can take it or leave it was the general vibe, and then it became like, oh, like that's like people need this.
Yeah, but I feel like what people maybe neglected to really see was the true costs. Like, what has it actually cost you now to let it all go over the last 6-9 months? And again, I really feel like I was very conscious. I don't want to feel like I'm preaching. I'm not preaching, or I'm preaching from a pedestal, or because I've struggled, so I've gained weight and up and down and different things. Again, it's extremely stressful year for me.
Yeah.
Extremely stressful. Constant adaptation, constant changes at very short notice. You know what I mean? Cancellations coming in like they've never come in before, and hustling and marketing and trying to sell and trying to keep the business going. Working 3 times as hard.
Even me, like I had to learn how to do that kind of stuff as well, which is great because it's a great opportunity.
Again, the skill set now has improved massively, and it's like if people apply that same philosophy to their fitness journey, I think they'd be much better off. Because like, what is it going to cost you now? The reason that there's such demand now coming back in the 7th of June is because everyone, I've been texting a lot of people on Instagram and getting a lot of inquiries, and like, people are, I'm 20 pounds heavier than I've ever been. It's like, what is the cost of that? What is that going to cost you now over the next 6 months?
Generally speaking, now, since I have had maybe 15 people come back to me noticeably, like just by looking at them, like, and like obviously no judgment, but it's like I've seen people come back, and I can even tell in some cases they're a little bit embarrassed about it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I think that's so sad, because in a way, just like yourself, it's like these people were forced to adapt. These people were forced in the situation. Nobody's choice. Same way as like we didn't all sit down one day and go, lads, it'd be a great money making scheme. Let's close down the gym and let's force everybody online.
Yeah.
It's like it was literally everybody was forced in this situation. So it's like, but some people didn't adapt.
Yeah. And
some people, like I said, it's like, are 20 pounds overweight. It's like that's a lot of weight. Like that's like, a lot on somebody's confidence.
Yeah.
That's for me, as somebody who's struggled with the weight their whole life and has been obese for a long time. It's just like that's the battle of you in the mirror every morning is one of the hardest battles I've ever experienced. It's like this constant thing of just not liking yourself. But it's like nothing like it's kind of like being mediums. Like, yeah, we could all lose a few pounds, we could all get a bit more shape, but like to literally like genuinely really not like what you see in the mirror, it's like there's a massive cost to that, and that ripples across every area of your life. It affects every relationship. It affects your career. It really will affect everything.
That is literally that is one of my favorite parts about this job. Is like I want to battle that. Like I hate. Like, see body fat on people. Like, this is why, like, the whole, like love yourself body fat thing, like, it really irks me, because what you're doing is you're asking people to love what they hate instead of change what they hate. Yeah. It's like, just accept it. It's like, no, don't accept it because you can do something about it. Obviously, if there's nothing you can do about it, accept it and learn to love yourself. And even in the process, like, learn to love yourself, because just because you're a leaner body fat doesn't mean that you're going to, be happy when you get there. It's like, unless you deal with that person yourself anyway, it's like that's a separate battle. But at the same time, it's like if you're looking at yourself and you generally don't like that just from an objective sense, it's like, it's like there's definitely something you can do about that. And it's like you should love the person, you should love the person who learns how to overcome that.
Yeah.
Like that's a very valuable experience. And that, like, David Goggins and Jordan Peterson, like they all kind of talk about, it's like, this kind of like earning your own self-respect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's number one. Like when I seen a podcast once, and one of the things they said when there was a coaching podcast, and like when you see someone who's really overweight, it's like from a coach's perspective, like they just see someone with like thousands and thousands of broken promises to themselves, just thousands and thousands of just like, because every day I'll do it Monday. Yeah. Then Monday comes and you just forget about it. But you don't really forget about it. Yeah. You remember that experience, and then you go to try and do it again. It's just a little bit harder because you said no the last time.
And that's what self-confidence is for me. Self-confidence is keeping the promises you make to yourself. The self-confident people are the people who keep the promises make themselves. The people who struggle with confidence are the people who constantly break themselves, because it's that lack of self-trust. I can't trust myself to do the right thing.
I can't rely on myself, so I'm nervous. Yeah. I'm nervous now in case anything happens, because I can't, like you said, I can't rely on myself. So what if, like everything, what if this happens? It's like, well then don't worry, you got your back. It's like, it's like I never have my back.
Yeah, I always let myself down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always let it slide. I always XYZ.
And so look, again, I feel like, again, as much of a trope that it is, like we really are in the self-help industry almost. It's like we get to help and change people's lives. Something like that I never expected doing this job back in the early days was the gratitude The people would come like, but it was never like just like, oh, thanks very much. Like it was always this big experience. Like it was always this big deal.
It was always like almost like, maybe not the right way to say it, but always like an over the top expression of gratitude, which really hits home. And it's like, oh my God, this is what a career, what an industry to be a part of.
It's almost surreal sometimes. It really is.
Yeah, and you feel like, Jesus, like, because for us,
all I've done was tell you to exercise, and here's how much you need to eat.
Yeah, but not even that, but it's that whole thing. I think as Jordan Peterson says as well, like, you know, like how people are just genuinely crying out. Like people just don't get high fives. People don't get well done. People don't get enough encouragement.
It's like, you can do it.
Oh, so something that I actually heard the other day was something very important. Was Jonah Hill about Channing Tatum, and it's actually something that I'm pretty sure is what I did to Peter. Was essentially like, it's like giving them the certainty to say, no, this works. Like you don't have to second guess yourself here anymore. It's like Jonah Hill, he asked me, he's like, so are you telling me like if I generally exercise and change my diet, will I lose the weight? And Channing Tatum was like, yeah, you fucking idiot. It's like 100%. And he was like, all right. I didn't realize, like, I identified as this overweight person. I thought this was who I am. I didn't think that I could change. And people like very funny. Did you ever see any of those clips of Jonah Hill and talking to the press and all that kind of stuff? Like, it's very, very weird because he's a comedy character. People have no problem bringing up his weight. People have no problem but slating him and slagging him. But it's almost in a, like it's a slagging way, but it's almost like it's very like,
accept that you're fat.
Yeah, like
we all know you're fat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they don't really do that to anybody else. But because he's a comic character, and he does not like it one bit. Like he takes it like really. But then I was kind of like, I remember thinking, I was like, oh, like, Jordan, why are you taking it so harsh? And then I watched a few more. It's like, I was like, oh, I never expected you to be someone who smells nice.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's like I never expected. Like it's like, oh yeah, it's like, you know, it's like they just put him in this box, and it's like and he lived in that box because that's what people told him that he was, and he had this shame, you know, this battle with himself and who he was and self-love. It's like because, you know, it's like regardless of whether or not, you know, it's like you love yourself. It's like there is an area of like, you know, public judgment. Yeah. You know, and that's hard to avoid because it's like although, you know, it's a nice thought for nobody's going to judge you when you walk into the room. It's like people are going to judge you, and it's like, and people who are nice and caring and friendly and kind is like will understand and see it for what it is, and hopefully, like, you know, be kind to you and try and help you. Especially if you come in, like if you come to us, it's like we're only going to try and see the best in you and help you out, never judge you in a negative way. But it's like if that's not the same for every room. Yeah.
So true, and I think that's kind of where we're at now right now, and kind of that's where the dialogue especially seems to be online. It's like we don't recognize it's easier to change yourself than it is to change the world. It's like, yeah, wouldn't it be great if there was no judgment, if there was no X, but it's like there is, and that's the world we live in, and it's like we need to recognize that aspect of human nature. And doesn't make, again, we all judge people. Everybody judges people. It's like, you know, it's just virtuous thing to say that you don't. Everybody does. You know, so, but what my thing is, that's what I'm saying, it's like, it's easier to change yourself than to try and change the world. So it's like, you know what I mean? If you're not happy with what you see in the mirror, it's easier to change it than to be stuck in this cycle of self-loathing and self-hatred. And it's like, if you're one of them, because we've talked to a lot of overweight people over the years, like literally hundreds, probably thousands. But it's like, where was I going with that?
This is the report that they give back to you.
Exactly, but it's like, what? Like, do you really want to change? You know, and if you really want to change, it's like there is many people out there who can help you get where you want to go. So it's just easier to change yourself than it is to change everybody else. To change how everybody else thinks, it's easier to change how you think about yourself than it is to change how other people think about you. That's kind of the real kind of message. But then at the same time, it's like, obviously, because I don't want to be too hard on anybody who maybe did, you know, because it was a pandemic, it was unprecedented. Yeah. We didn't know how to adapt. But the key thing now is, did you take the lessons? If it happens again, will you be better off, or will you continue then the same path? Will you get worse and worse and worse and worse? Because I don't know what way it's going to go in the winter time. You know what I mean?
What's the bets? I think we're going to another.
I would be very surprised. I feel like we've set a precedent now that a relatively low number of cases justifies. It's like it's July. It's like there's, from last figures I heard, there's like 30 people in ICU, 30 odd. Again, very sad and very tragic. But compared to what? It's like there's always been 30, 40, 50, 60 people in ICU. So it's like we've set a precedent now where, you know, and I've seen the government voting on extended emergency powers and XYZ. And I feel like I do want to do a podcast on the whole COVID situation, and just because I feel like it's just, just outsourcing our health. People are saying the same fallacy that the fitness industry gets accused of. This kind of, people looking for this quick fix or looking for the weight loss in a bottle. I feel like we're outsourcing our health to the pharmaceutical industry at a rate that is not good for people. Whereas, we have so much power, so much personal power to take responsibility for our health through exercise, through diet, through good sleep, through stress management, through all these different tools. So it's like, if we really start to tap into that, it's like, yeah, these things are effective, these treatments are effective, but compared to how effective is it compared to exercising 4 times a week, eating healthy 80% of the time,
8 hours
sleeping? It's like, okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's that question. It's like, right, okay, compared to what? Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Compared to what? Compared to being obese, having a sedentary lifestyle. Okay, yeah, maybe you need it, but like, I feel like I don't need a lot of these treatments being offered right now, and there's just a lot of judgment put on people who prefer to take responsibility for their own health, I feel. But again, that's a separate issue, a separate podcast. But again, to get back into the facility reopening, it was like, why did we do that? So first off, it was the COVID situation. Everyone was in here. We're doing the podcast in the original Fine Fit studio. Now it's like space. It's like, first off, was like, health and safety concerns is okay, right? Maybe this space isn't the most well ventilated. Maybe people aren't going to feel comfortable going forward. Kind of, we like that. We're getting 16 people in here for a session. There's great energy. There's great crack. People are moving around, sharing equipment, all that stuff. So maybe we're never going to go back to that. Possibly, I don't know.
I wouldn't say never.
Yeah, I wouldn't say. I can't wait for circuits in
based off shopping centres I've been in, I think people are just going to take their masks off, and that's going to be it.
Yeah,
honestly, which is a strange thing that I think, just kind of with the whole COVID thing. I just do think that people have a lot more lax in their nature than the regulations would have you think. It's like, oh, this is an absolute pandemic, but yet nobody in the shop really seems to give a shit. Yeah. Bar maybe 1 out of 50 people.
But it's really scared.
But anyway, exactly. There's 1 in 50 people seem to be terrified. Everybody else is kind of like, oh yeah, well, I'm just here to protect my granny.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. It's like, I feel like people are more responsible and more trustworthy and more will do the right thing. You get what I'm saying? I just feel like no matter how many restrictions you put in place, restricting the movement of healthy people has zero impact. It literally has zero impact. If you restrict somebody healthy, it's like, what's the point? It's like, they're not spreading it, they're not doing anything. Leave them alone. Let's put our efforts on identifying the people who are infectious, and let's put the resources over there.
We're not allowed to talk about COVID.
Yeah. But anyway.
No, we just sit for
we could go on for hours. But again, the reason we decided to open up the new studio, many reasons. One of them was this kind of concept of anti-fragility and wanting to kind of, how can we come out as bigger, better, stronger, better community, better service, all that good stuff. So it was like, just thinking, right, this facility here, a little bit small, a little bit cramped, to cut the numbers down. So it's like, realistically, with the spacing, we can only fit 12 in here. It was like, even if in terms of the business model, it's like, right, that's not really that sustainable long term. Like, we can take the hit, and we can squeeze through it for a couple of months. But we need slightly bigger groups. We need to increase that group size 20-30% to make it sustainable. And then also that it's like, right, it's like, what is the dream? What is the vision? Because that's the kind of what gets you excited. So it's like, this was never the dream. You know what I mean? This is a great facility, and now what we have is we have a personal training studio where we can start training people one-on-one. Because as I said, I started off training people one-on-one. You guys are doing a lot more personal training nowadays than you used to, only because we had 11 sessions a day at all the peak times. So like, there just really wasn't any availability unless you could train kind of midday for PTs. So being able to offer that service here now, I feel, is because again, the more personal you can get, the better. The more one-on-one you can get with somebody, the better. Well, most people, the people who really struggle, the people who are struggling, and that's kind of who we're really trying to help, the people who are struggling, and then we have 2 people really. I think it's important to say this. We have one person, absolute beginner, who's no idea where to start, has failed many times in their own. They need the structure, they need the support, they need the accountability. Boom, we've got an amazing system that's going to help you get from where you are now to where you want to be. And then the second person is the person who, right, I'm relatively happy with my weight. It's like, right, I'm in pursuit now of the best version of myself. And that's what the new facility is about now. So it's like, here we were limited. You get a couple of great clients in to come in, do the 12-week program, then smash it, lose the weight, get super fit, and it's like, right, boom, high five, see you later. I'm kind of thinking, they're the people I want in my business long term. The people who are here on that journey of self-actualization, like, well, what am I capable of? And they almost pass through the program, because it's like, there's only so heavy we can go with the dumbbells, there's only so much movement, but now we got barbells, we got the level method, we got all these new kind of bells and whistles. That means, like, what again, if you're an A student, what was a 12-week journey, we can now, once you get you happy with
4 years.
Exactly, we can get you happy with your health and with your body, depending on where you're starting from, in 12 weeks to 3 to 6 months. But now the fitness journey, because the fitness journey is a lifelong thing. You get what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of people go wrong. When they're not exercising, they don't diet. And that's kind of, it's like, even what I said, even over the last year, I was like, even if you didn't lose any weight, if you kept up the exercise routine, you maybe wouldn't have dug yourself such a big hole. But at the same time, you can eat unhealthy, eat a few extra calories. Let's put them calories to good use. Let's do some push-ups. Let's do some home workouts. Let's get fitter, faster, stronger. Let's keep our mental health right. Let's keep the endorphins flowing. Let's keep all that stuff too. So it's like, but there's a lot of people out there with the mindsets like, I only exercise when I'm trying to lose weight. And it's like, that's what we each kind of want to. And again, what we do as well, I think, is we meet people where they're at with our 6-week challenges and all this kind of stuff. Because again, if you don't offer that service, people will just go somewhere else and you never be able to help them. So that's why we get people in the door with that, and then we're trying to really help them see who you can be in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You could be your former self would be a shadow of your former self, or no, the opposite of that. Your former self would be a shadow of who you are now, because the greatness you will step into through the trial and tribulations of a great workout, through this journey of resilience that you develop, through kind of actually pushing myself to my limits, not going outside your comfort zone and doing more than you're capable of, but every so often just stepping towards the edge of your comfort zone. It grows and grows and grows, and you get stronger and stronger and stronger, and all of a sudden all these limiting beliefs you had about yourself, through action you destroy them. And it's like, well, actually I'm not that person at all. I'm not the fat girl or the fat kid in school anymore. I'm actually a beast. I can deadlift 150 kilos. I can do 100 burpees. I can do X, Y, Z. I ran marathons. I've done all this cool stuff. So it's like that, and that's true transformation only happens, I believe, when there's that identity shift. And that's really what we're trying to do. We're trying to help people kind of see this identity shift, but you can't fool your subconscious mind. It only happens through massive action, and you have to prove it yourself. You have to keep the promises you make to yourself consistently over time, and you have to step outside that identity through action by doing things that other version you've convinced yourself you are wouldn't be capable of doing. So doing hell and backs, doing all this cool stuff. That is like, okay, well, now I've changed. And that's where I feel a lot of people are stuck, because when they do the transformation, they do the 6 weeks, they do the 12 weeks, they just fall back into their old identity.
It's even the same thing with the hell and backs, you know what I mean? Like, people just get a taste of this new identity and they go, oh, cool, right, well, I did it then, so now I know I can do it, so I'm just going to go back now and live the easy life. You know, and I feel like a big part of it is because they do split it down into two extremes, where one is the easy life and one is the difficult life. And it's like, no. It's like, those two exist, but that's not all your options.
Yeah.
You know, your option, like the option for me is like, I was probably over COVID, like probably the highest body fat percent I've ever been, but my training was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's like my performance was really, really good because I was making sure I was eating protein, I was still eating fruit and vegetables, but I was also eating, you know, exorbitant amounts of cake and donuts. You know, so like I was definitely in a calorie surplus.
I feel like the donuts, like the stock price of donuts just went up like loads.
100%, yeah. Pre-COVID they were like, you know, like €8, and then, you know, it was like 15. You know, and even donuts became like if me and Chloe were like looking for like an event, like normally you go to the cinema, so let's order a box of donuts.
Yeah.
You know, like that was literally all that you had. Like,
because exactly, a lot of people, all we had was food and alcohol,
yeah.
because we couldn't, you know, go out and do all these other kind of more. Again, for me, it was like traveling. It's like nothing. Like I just really identified to me just how much I just need to travel and get outside of myself, break my routine for a couple of weeks every periods, every quarter, every 6 months or so, to step outside myself to really reflect and see, right, what am I actually trying to do? What am I trying to achieve? Because every time I go on a holiday, I come back with a hunger for work, a hunger to get back to work and to kind of, you know, to smash it, and, you know, a new perspective on maybe this wasn't working, because it's so hard when you kind of get stuck in the day to day.
Yeah, I was going to say, even like in like your relationship, it's like, I know me and Chloe, like our normal day to day us, and then versus us when we go on holidays, it's like that time away nearly like recharges the entire relationship, because you guys come away and be the best version of yourself, because you're not tired, you're not under pressure, you're not doing roles and responsibilities and all this kind of stuff. And it's the same with everything. It's like, if you don't break away from, you know, the mundane, it's like, generally speaking, it's like everyone's life is like involves some form of work, and work wears on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And everybody has this image of them sitting on the beach with a fucking, you know, margarita or whatever it is, and just chilling out. And it's like, and with good reason, like everybody needs that. You know, everybody needs that ability to recharge and refresh. And even like it says, like, we literally couldn't even travel outside our house. It's just so claustrophobic.
But you need the margarita on the beach just as much as you need the work, and you need the achievement, 100%. You need the progress.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. And again, it's this pursuit of balance
and the routine. You know, you need the routine.
Yeah.
Was anyone else surprised at how quickly holidays got demonized?
we're just going traveling.
Yeah, it's like oh, they're on holiday.
Yeah,
you see the thing with the girls in the paper that went away and then they came back. It's
got,
like
got the boob jobs, which then people turn each other. I'm not a massive fan of that, but I do know that I think they've announced. I think from the 26th of July, you're allowed to travel again within the EU, which is at least something to look forward to. So if you haven't already, let's get them holidays booked. But again, so for anyone who again. I just am conscious of I don't want to feel like I'm ripping into anybody who's struggled and fell off track.
Well,
that's common.
You had a really cool phrase towards the end. It's like, lockdown is kind of like a storm, okay, and not everyone has the same boat. Like some people, if you're in a family where you have mom and dad, 4 kids, you have 3 rooms, and you're sitting on top of each other the whole time.
Good garden.
But it's like the mum's working from home, the dad's working from home, the kids have to be schooled.
Yeah. It's all well and good, Chris there, single Chris, saying, all right, should just get up early, go for a workout, go for a run, prep your meals. That's easier said than done in that situation. Yeah.
The pressure was put on parents, I think, having to work from home and homeschool kids, I think was just
absolutely ridiculous.
A crazy, unrealistic expectation.
Yeah, no, that was not fair.
But even
and unfortunately, it seems
this podcast is going to turn into a regular
and unfortunately, it seems as things tend to seem to do when it's family related, the pressure seems to fall on the mammies from the conversations I've had anyway. But what I really want to kind of get across in this podcast is like I hope at least that the last year, because I feel like a good percentage of people kind of had a little bit of a step back from life. It was a good time to kind of sit down and evaluate what is really important to me. That's kind of where I was going with the travel example. So what did you miss over the last 15 months? Do you now realise how important that exercise routine was to you? How eating well most of the time, how good that makes you feel? So I hope that if you are in a place maybe where you feel like you're slightly worse off than you were 15 months ago, I really hope you've now a new perspective in terms of what your priorities are and what's important to you and what do you need to be happy and to be the best version of yourself for the people around you who do rely on you and need you to be that good person. This concept of make sure that your cup is full, because when your cup's empty, and I know a lot of us got our cups emptied, my cup was emptied a couple of times over the last couple of months, but then it was just that process of, right, well, I need to just fill my cup back up. Thankfully over the last couple of years in my diet and even slipping into drinking a little more alcohol and this kind of stuff, which again is very common. Talked to a lot of people about that.
I feel like I got a better cup.
I know some people like who work in shopping centres and all that jazz. There's like alcohol sales are through the roof. Yeah, it's through the roof, and there's a reason for that.
A lot of it's because people can't go out to the pubs.
Did any ever? Obviously, I'm sure you have the cocaine study done with the rats and the water, and basically, it's like, if you give a rat in a cage cocaine, it's like it will literally take cocaine until it dies, right? Because it just needs a stimulation. And they're like, okay, well, maybe this is a bad study. What we'll do is we'll give it, we'll put it in a proper community, somewhere where it can
give it something to do and interact and socialise.
It used it sparingly. It did use it, and it used it just like it used food, or like it used sex, or like it used fun and entertainment and socialism. It became a part of what it did instead of like all it could do. You know what I'm saying? So if you're sitting at home watching your 9 millionth series on Netflix, it's like, well, that's not surprising, because what the hell else are you supposed to do? The human mind needs stimulation. It's like it's not a choice. It's like we sit here like overstimulated, and the reason that we're overstimulated is because we have the choice to be stimulated. Like back in the day, it's like you got to go out and seek stimulation.
You get bored.
Whereas now it's like, oh well, there's literally infinite. Like see TikTok. Yeah. TikTok literally, TikTok is crazy. Like it is the only thing. Like YouTube, not a problem. Facebook, not a problem. Instagram is pretty similar. But Instagram and TikTok, it's like, see, once I get scrolling onto Reels, it's like I never know when to stop, because the next one is just
it could be great.
It's infinite effect. It could be the win.
Yeah, but as well as I think there's also interesting stuff that show. Like obviously, listen, I think we've all become a little more addicted to our phones. I feel like it is quite difficult. Like, I know I struggle with it, especially because a huge portion of our business is online. We've got 2 pretty big Facebook groups. You've got an Instagram to manage, Facebook to manage, loads and loads of stuff happening on emails, and so much happening online that's just constant ping, 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 ping. And the worst thing is they're designed to grab our attention and to keep us hooked. They want to keep us on the platform as long as they possibly can, because the more time we spend in the platform, the more advertisements we'll see. More advertisements we see, the more money the company makes. But again, I think that was another thing that was highlighted, along with like alcohol dependence and social media and all this kind of stuff that was identified. So I just really want people to sit down with a pen and piece of paper, have a look and see, right, where did I struggle over the last year? You know, what kind of showed up for me over the last few months? Because there's a thing, and I struggle being an entrepreneur, is like, freedom is great. Too much freedom is also a hindrance. You get what I'm saying? When you've got nobody to keep you accountable, when you've got no routine, when you've got no structure, when you can literally plan your day and do whatever you want, a lot of the time you fall back yourself and you get to really see, right, who actually am I? You know what I mean? I'm actually, without my routine, without the structure, without the community, without the gym, without the place to go, without the coaches and XYZ, it's like I actually fall apart. So there's a massive opportunity for growth there, and that's where I would love people to focus on. People who did focus, like, right, fair enough. What did I struggle with over the last year? These are the things that I need to maybe now work on over the next 6 months once I get back into these routines. And hopefully we all come back with a new sense of appreciation, at least. Every cloud is a silver lining. I'm not happy with how things played out over the last 15 months. Not whatever, under no circumstances am I happy with how things played out. But at the same time, we've got two choices. We can look for the silver lining, or we can just constantly just blame and complain. But again, so where is the opportunity for growth here? Approach now the next 6 months, the second half of this year, with a new sense of gratitude, with a new sense of appreciation, with a new sense of commitment, and actually giving things like health and fitness the level of importance that I think it needs to be given. Like, you know what I mean? I do a lot of journaling stuff, and every single day is like, if I work out and I eat half decent, it's like, and then I do one productive thing, that's a great day for me. Like, literally, that is a great day.
That's one thing I realised when we started doing the daily planner, was I had it in my head every day that I was like, oh, I have like 8 things to do, and I squared out. I was like, actually, you know what it is? If I get 3 things done today, that's the bulk. Because then if I get 3 things done every day, it's like that's like 15 things done this week, and like they're not little things, like they're substantial chunks. But it's like if I had to do 5 that day, it's like I might get 1 done in the fluster of trying to do it all. You know what I mean? That's one thing I would actually, you know, two things I would suggest to everybody is, one is like, do that journal at the start of the day. It's like maybe you could give people a resource where they can get
the one I started out using, which was a great resource for me, was the 5-minute journal. The 5-minute journal you get on Amazon, fantastic.
It's getting more and more expensive.
Is it?
Yeah, every year it gets a little.
Because it's just more law of supply and demand.
Yeah. And then sorry, the next thing is making sure, like for me, one of the best things that's ever happened to me is been scheduled in for 6 a.m. Like, I am up 80% of the year before 6 a.m. And it's like, and honestly, it's one of the best things that ever happened to me. And anybody is not like forced into being up at 6 a.m. It's like, I would suggest getting a system in place that pulls you out of bed at 6 a.m. Like, not a choice.
Create the leverage.
If you have the choice between 6 a.m. and not, it's like, it's going to be not. Like 9 times out of 10.
Unless you're an absolute beast who's cultivated many amazing habits and you've a lot of resilience over the last few years. But I was the same, even creating that leverage, because I love getting up early in the morning, but I also love sleeping. You know what I mean? So it was like, I remember even there was a period, it was the last year, the year before, what I'd done was I scheduled myself in to take the first class of the day, because I knew I had great intentions a lot of the time. I set my alarm for 6 o'clock, you know what I mean, to get up and just do some work, get down on the laptop, blah blah, do my few bits, go up, do a workout or whatever. And like, you know, half the time you'd snooze it away, but when you have to be somewhere, you have to do something, you've made a micro commitment, you created leverage, it's much easier. And that's kind of what our whole program is about. It's like, you know, creating the systems, giving you the tools, the leverage, everything you need to be the best version of yourself. Because at the end of the day, if we're genuinely honest with ourselves, like, we all need a lot of work. You know what I mean? We're not, you know what I mean? We really do. Like, you know, like left to our own devices, most people don't do it. You get what I'm saying? But when we look at the stats, you know, in terms of things like obesity and like happiness and
exercise. Look at yourself.
You
know, if you look at yourself, the question I constantly get asked by kind of friends and also clients is like it's a question of normality. It's like, is this normal? Like, is what's happening to me the general experience? And like, the answer is always yes. It's like, if it's happening to you, it's normal. You know what I mean? That's just the general rule of thumb.
I'm going to be careful saying that.
How do you mean?
I don't want to say.
All right. Well, so what I'm saying is, like, at least in a population of 7 billion, it's like there's people who share a very common experience. It's like, now, if somebody has an experience, like, if somebody has dealt with an experience, not everybody gets handed the same experience. But what I'm saying is that in a set of people being handed a similar situation, it's like most people will generally react the same way. And so the fact is, like, you are so normal, and so if you are having an issue with someone, it's like you don't have to have this kind of guilt or shame or like pain associated with, like, oh my god, like there's something so wrong with me. It's like, it's like that's the human condition. It's like, you are subjected to the human condition. And so once you start understanding what exactly that means, it's like, and like I said, all the trappings, all the flaws that come with that, it's like, it's not necessarily your fault that this is just how you are, this is who humans are, but it is your responsibility to kind of be aware of that and then start making the best of it, with your higher level of awareness, that kind of thing is what I mean.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
That's all right.
Yeah. So getting back to the kind of the core concept of the podcast, like about the big reopening and how we managed to do that, how we pulled it off, all that good stuff. So when did we actually start? I think it was just January gone there, wasn't it? It was like about 6 months where we went and we got the lease signed, all that stuff, started the background work, and thankfully we did actually, because I know the way things are going with the inflation and the logistics and the pipeline of products, that the cost of building materials has actually went up pretty significantly over the last 6 months. So thank God we got the bulk of the work done nice and early. It would have cost us about 25% more. But what do you guys feel like about the new place, the new facility?
It's amazing. It's amazing. It's exactly like when we were in here. I felt like we get good workouts in and all that jazz, but like one of the things that would happen, like the lads, especially the lads, they'd come in and they'd lose weight, and then they'd be like, now what? And then it was like, oh, let's build a little bit of muscle. It was like with the dumbbells and a 30-minute workout, there is only so much you can do. Like to build muscle, you need time under tension, you need volume, you need reps, you need weight. And it's like with this here, you can build a little bit, especially if you're untrained. But once you hit that sort of first plateau, it's like there's not much in the case of progressive overload. Do you get me? Other than like maybe doing your push-ups slower or whatever, or adding in supplementary pull-ups. Whereas like now with the new facilities, we can add weight to your squat, we can add weight to your bench, we can add weight to your overhead press, we can add weight to your deadlift. We can have you doing sprints, we can have you doing like, and
do it at scale.
Yeah.
With everybody. Yeah. Now at the rig, it's like not obviously everybody, but like people who are fit to do it. It's like now we have the space and the equipment to do it.
Yeah. It's going to be next level. And then with our new map, it's everyone is going to have like a goal just given to them based on their assessment. Like if they're assessed, your squat is 90 kilos, it's like their next goal, their squat is 100 kilos. It's like, that's it. There's no setting it, there's no anything. It's like, oh, and you're actually, if you do this, you'll get to your next belt or your next colour, which is like
so motivating.
Yeah, it really is. Like if you get one, if you're like orange 3, okay, the next one is blue. It's like it's a substantial jump up in difficulty, but you're like, I bet if I tried just a little bit harder, I could get that. I definitely. You're so close to it, and you're like, I'm gonna try that next time, and then the next time you do it, you just barely get it, and you're like, and it's like the next level is just one little bit away again. You're like, oh, so you just it pulls you to it. It pulls you to it. It's unbelievable.
One of the things I love about the new map system as well, the level method, is this thing there. It's the focus shifts as well from not shifts, but it becomes equally important. It's like not just what am I losing, but what am I gaining in terms of strength and fitness. Because like we are really all about, like, obviously we want to build muscle. There's probably better programs out there than our program. Not to say you can still gain a significant amount of muscle depending on where you're starting from.
It's not a bodybuilding program.
It's not a bodybuilding program, but what it is, it's a functional fitness program. You know what I mean? If you want to be fit for life, you want to look good, you want to be able to perform. That's in fat loss and performance has been how we started off.
What I think the best thing is the fitness element of it. Like in terms of being fit, you're just like there's so if you have a conversation with someone who's not in, let's say, the health and fitness industry, you're talking to them, like, oh, that was so hard. You're like, what? It's like, oh, Joe, hiking up.
But it's only like that's, and this is another benefit of the level method. It's like it's only too hard because you're probably doing too much. You need to step it down. You're trying to exercise like a purple, brown, black. It's like you're probably yellow or an orange. You get what I'm saying? So you got to dial it back. You got to roll with a slower group.
Exactly. Something with that is it's like you like everyone thinks it's like you have to. It's like in order to build, you need to be at 100%. It's like you can build at 70.
Yeah.
You can and probably have a good time doing it and get the wins.
Yeah. And especially if you're a beginner.
Yeah.
Like the worse your starting point, the more opportunity you have for progress and to really have an amazing journey.
And the cool thing about the new system is the wins, the moments, the little moments where you're like, oh, I can do that now, or I learned that, or I achieved that, or like, the little high five where it's like, oh, I didn't think I could do that. If we like taking people through the level method now, I've got like 4 people doing double unders where they're like, there's no way I could do that. The moment before, like literally, there's no way I could do that. And I'm like, show me you skipping there for a second, and then they show me, they have a good bit of a bit of speed. They're like, I'm like, I think you have this, and then they have it, and then they're trying to fuck up like 15 times. I'm like, you have a tax of 20. All right, you have a tax of 20, like 5 more, and you'll get 1. And then they do it in the third one. They're just like, oh, I can't believe it. And then to go away and have the best day ever that day just because of that.
There's been a good few jaw drop moments.
Yeah, and that's why that's why we see the value in it so much, because we've had those moments before, but we couldn't have them. Let's say
you can replicate them all the time.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's like it's replicable, and
you said scalable. Now we can do it with everybody all the time. No one's going to slip through again, because that's, it's like if somebody has a big win and then maybe you don't notice the win, but now we'll notice and we'll be able to celebrate every win.
How am I supposed to remember everyone's deadlifts?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So, but now it's like, oh, now we know exactly where you're at. You know what I mean? Oh, and not only that, it's like you need a big high five, and we're going to make a big deal about it, because I tell you what, it is a big deal.
It is a big deal, 100%. It definitely is. Like going from where a lot of people start to getting where they are, it's like, that's pretty fucking badass. They're going from somebody who's never really exercised, doesn't know how to skip, can't deadlift, XYZ. It's like, to actually be able to deadlift your body weight, it's like, wow, congratulations. But not only does that mean you can deadlift your body weight, but it also means you can pick up your kids. It also means that somebody needs a hand moving. It's like, I'm a now useful person.
I know so many people who are injured from work. Like, and I don't mean like hard work. I just mean like general work. Like they're injured from like moving a box at work. It's like, that's not a good spot to be at. You know, it's like whereas like your ankle's playing up at you every time you go for a fast walk with your mates. Yeah. It's like that's an easy fix if you're working with a professional who knows what they're doing. You know, it's like so many people come to me with like big problems, like, and I mean like substantial problems for them. It's like, but they're easy fixes because we're in the business and we know how the body works, and it's like we've seen it before 100 times, and it's like, generally speaking, it's like it doesn't take that much unless you've had an impact injury. Yeah. Because if you have an impact injury, car accident, football, all that kind of stuff, these things happen. But it's like, generally speaking, it's like if no accident happened to you and you're just generally in pain from your general life, it's like you can do better than that. It's like you can live a better life than that. You can have a better quality life than that.
Yeah, and that's where it all comes into the journey. Everybody's on their own separate journey, and that kind of brings into, like, for you guys, like the journey that we've been on, the journey you guys have been on. I just want to thank you guys so much for being a part of this and helping us get from, like I said, where we were, 5 years ago to where we are today. It's like, if you just show up consistently, you do the work, but you do it with a good attitude, and that's the key. We do everything we do, what we try and do, and obviously that's we're human, and we don't always maybe represent ourselves in the best way. We all slip up here and there, but to genuinely try to show up with a good attitude consistently and be genuine.
Do you know what's hard about coaching? Actually, just now that you say that, is like, do you know how hard it is to challenge people and call them out on their bullshit and also be well received the whole time? Like that's such a hard challenge to do. It's like, so what you want me to do is you want me to keep you accountable. You want me to tell you, the hard truths, but you also want me to be your BFF and never upset you, really. It's like, that's a hard ask. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to be able to do that across all different areas, like I said, like mobility, is like criticizing people on any level, like, doesn't really go well. Yeah. You know what I mean? But no, we are in the game of change. And so what we got to learn, like, and what I got to learn was like how to help people without criticizing them. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
but exactly, and it's like, but how did you get there? We got there through a journey of self-discovery, a journey of personal development, through reading. You know what I mean? Through action.
Number one, how to win friends and influence people.
Yeah, number one. Napoleon Hill, isn't it? But that's like, that book is literally the core of our kind of customer service strategy. You know what I mean? But we did it voluntarily. You get what I'm saying? You guys, even the personal development was like, yeah, guys, we all agreed that we're not as good as we could be. Yeah, okay, so is everyone committed now to maybe staying for an hour after work and reading or doing a course, and we'll provide some resource and we'll invest in you and get you a course and stuff like that. But it's like, are you willing to put in the time, put in the work, and to show up with a good attitude? And you have been, and
you know what the best,
extremely grateful for
the
that.
best thing about that has been the confidence you get to deliver a service that you actually know in detail what you're doing. And like, for talks, like, I don't have a bad interaction with anybody that I don't know why I had it. Yeah, it's like, so, and sometimes obviously my fault, and then sometimes their fault. It's like, but you can see the trappings, so then you can fix it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Or like with the Supple Leopard book, is like, I could pretty much help anybody now who doesn't have an impact injury. You know, it's like I can really impact people's lives, like, which is like so amazing. Like, honestly, thank you for the opportunity to do that, because like I said, it's like, you do get such a great feeling when people are genuinely grateful for something that you were able to help them do. You know, especially when it was a problem, and you can really tell it's like, oh, like this was or when they have a problem and you're the person that they're like, oh, well, I know exactly who I'm going to.
Yeah. Do you guys know about Sam's knees?
Sam's knees, yeah,
Sam's knees, like, they're absolutely fine now.
Are they?
Yeah, absolutely fine now. I gave her a few exercises to do, and she's like, Chris, they're not crunching anymore. It's like, there's no pain anymore. They're stronger. What's going on? And it's like
you showed up and you done the work. It's like, I had the strategy, I had the knowledge, because I had the experience, but you done the work, and now it's fixed.
That's such a good point as well. It's like, it's like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, it's
oh man, how many times have you given out stretches or given out something, being like, do this many times a week to do it, and then you come back the next week, oh, it's still at me. I'm like, did you do things I said? You're like, no, forgot about that.
Or then the other side of it is, you know, they do it for a little bit and they lack that consistency.
Yeah, and that's why they.
That's me. I do.
Same. I feel raw. Like without accountability, I'm useless. That's why I train with you in the morning. It's like I have to be there. If I don't show up or you don't show up, you get a bit of slag and there's a bit of it's like fair enough. Like, you know what I mean? I need that to show up consistently. If it's there, and even before you, I was training with Noel in the morning. It's like if I don't have that, I wouldn't have trained 4 days a week. And although, like I said, I've fluctuated like a lot of people over the last year or so, I've still trained at least 4 days a week, every week for the past 15 months. So it's like, I know what kind of situation would I be in if I didn't do that.
That's one of the best things about being a coach is that we have client accountability.
Yeah,
like, it's so important. Like I remember like me 5 years ago, just as a client. Like if I was my own client compared to who I am now,
he's such a bad client.
You know, this guy was awful. You know what I mean? But I was coaching people, but it's like the idea is like, well, one, I've watched and helped so many people achieve breakthroughs that it broke some limiting beliefs that I had, because like I've seen people who put themselves in a box and then I'd be the one to encourage them out of that box and then they get the achievement. And even though it's like I knew it's like I might like it's easier to give somebody else advice than it is to kind of see that in yourself.
Of course,
100%.
You know what I mean? And so when you help somebody through it and you're like, oh, okay, right now I have the confidence to do it for myself.
Yeah.
And then
it also lights a fire under you though. Like if you have a client that's doing better than you in one aspect, you're like,
I need to pick it up.
I'm the coach here.
But I think that goes back to what we kind of touched on earlier, like identity is relationship with your standards. So now it's like your coaches, and again, I've stepped back from being a coach a lot, and I feel that's why maybe I've let it slip a little bit, but I'm kind of getting back into it.
But your identity is
my identity is the boss or the entrepreneur. Now that's kind of where I get my self-worth from now. Whereas if hopefully I want to step a lot more back into that old identity I had as a personal trainer. So without that identity, I wouldn't have been so successful in my own kind of fitness journey, because I was stepping into that identity as a boxer, as a champion, as you know, and to do that you have to take the required action. But even you said, I think it was Neve Hoyt that said it, you posted your level on the in the members group, and it was like, you know, and it was almost as like, yeah, that's what we'd expect. But in a nice friendly way. But it was like, you know, it was like not a yellow orange in sight. Exactly what we'd expect from our coach. You know what I'm saying? It's like boom. It's like, yeah, of course. And again, there's a lot of work goes on behind the scenes, because you know there's a certain standard I have to meet. If I'm going to be here demonstrating, I have to be able to demonstrate it pretty good. I don't want to be lifting the lightweight either. I got to show you that. For me, I got to show you what you're capable of through my actions as well, which is amazing.
On that note, how unreal are the sessions?
They're so good.
Yeah, love that. And as well, for the guys who don't know, we've extended the sessions as well a little bit to 40 minutes as well, to kind of give a little bit more time for the slightly more complex movement, more in-depth warm-ups, and
more explanations,
more coaching as well, more explanation. So we're not under pressure that we can stop it and say, okay guys, 5 minutes here, let's have a look at this movement.
Here's our movement prep. Here's what we're practicing.
Because what we're really trying to do here is like we're really trying to make having a coach more affordable. You get what I'm saying? I feel like some people are kind of stuck in the mindset like they're like it's an expensive gym membership. It's like no, it's extremely affordable personal training is what it is. If you want to work out 4 or 5 times a week with any decent personal trainer, has to be charging at least 25-30 quid an hour.
I've heard 500 quid a week.
So it's like we make it extremely affordable for you to get access to a coach. You've got a consultant in your pocket 7 days a week, as well as all the other benefits, the community.
But generally speaking, people want I want a service, and I want to pay for the service. You know, that's what I want. And so when I come down to paying for a trip to the gym, and it costs me €24 if I go, 200 times in a year, it's like, versus if I'm going to your place, it's like, but it's like that's a great idea. Let's do that. Let's now take you to one-on-one session. So it's like I said, it's like €50 for that showing up and having a coach experience. Yeah. It's like, how much is it for a yoga class? Like €15.
Every time I went to yoga session, it was €15 a session. So you're coming 5 times. Well, the same pricing model. It's like €75, and it's 100% worth it. As somebody in the industry, I see the value massively. I'd pay €15. I'd probably pay €20. Go to a yoga session. I'd pay €20, no problem. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, and obviously because we expect it to be more consistent, XYZ, like, we really are trying to make it as affordable as we possibly can, because I feel like people don't really fully understand, outsiders anyway, the work that we do behind the scenes. It is a huge amount of work. It takes a lot of time to be available.
If you're looking at it from the perspective of like, that's expensive per week, it's like, it's like if you show up once a week, it's very expensive. It's really, really expensive. It's like, if you're looking at it and you're only going to show up once a week, it's like, stop looking at it, go away, we don't want you.
And then the other side of it, there is the harsh reality that not everybody is in a financial situation that can, like, and some are genuine and some maybe could re-budget and there's like
reprioritize.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, and so but 40 quid a week is like regularly, it's like, imagine like Netflix was 40 quid a week. It's like, you probably
but it's like, will Netflix change your life? Probably not.
No, but this is it. But the question is like, if I was to go home to Chloe and I say, regardless of the expense, oh, here's an extra expense for 40 quid, you know, it would be like, how important is this?
Yeah, of course. But if you think of like, but it's like, you get to show up 5 days a week, you get 5 hours of service, just the workouts, regardless of all the other stuff that we do. You get like, you know, 5 hours service, somewhere to go. It's like, if I wanted to go to anywhere, it's like, you pay a $10 entry fee, like, and it's like, obviously, you know what I mean? But it's like, I just feel like that's the biggest problem in the fitness industry right now. There's just this
everybody wants to be the cheapest.
Yeah, everyone just like, all right, people come into the industry, they're like, okay, what's everybody else charging? I'll charge 20% less. That'll be my competitive advantage. Instead of letting your competitive advantage being actually having the best program. That's what I was like, right, I've been through the journey. What did it actually take to help people get where they want to go? It's like, right, this is the service, and what's now a reasonable price we can offer that service for? Boom, this is it now. So now this is the program. And one of the mindset shifts that I like now as well is everybody that comes through the program will be going through the foundations program.
Love it. Yeah.
So now that it's like, now we're hopefully going to attract more people who want personal training, because you got to get some personal training before you can even, what I'm saying now, graduate into the group. Because you've got to make sure, again, we want, the more one-on-one time we get with you, the more we understand you, the more we understand your goals, and the more we can customize and tailor the entire journey to you then. So there's huge like long-term value in that, you know. So that's kind of really what we want to do now with the new program, as well as a lot of it being about like health and safety and making sure that you're actually capable. Now, maybe it's like, you're probably not, maybe the group's not a good fit for you. Yeah, maybe you need more one-on-one before we can get you in there.
Not even that, there was somebody else that I just kind of recommended to the boxing program that we do now. It's like, because he was like, oh, well, you know what it is, I just want to lose fat, but, you know, it's like, I also want to box and just kind of have a bit of crack. And I was like, well, look, if weightlifting and coaching and accountability and all that kind of stuff, like, isn't necessarily what you're in it for, you just want to, like, you know what to eat, you're fairly motivated, you just want a good hour cracking session, leave the door sweating. It's like, yeah, it was like, you know, we want to be able to tailor to everybody, because like I said, it's like when you do personal training, it's like, it really is about you. It's not about me. It's not it's not the class that I want to give you. It's like people show it to me like, what do you want? And it's like, and it's my job to put that through the filter of, right, I know how to set your goals, I know how to program it out. That's my job, but it's your job to come with like, what are you looking for?
Yeah, and it's like, and if you just want access to equipment, this is not for you. Yeah. It's goal orientated. It's what's called like the prescriptive model. You come to me, we have the 20-minute conversation. I'm like, right, what's your goals? What are you struggling with? What do you need to be successful? You tell me, and then I'll say, okay, well, this is the best offer for you. You probably need the highest level of accountability we offer, because you know what I mean, you want to lose 30 pounds and you fail 20 times XYZ. So it's like, this is the best thing for you. And if getting you on the program that isn't the best thing you need, it's like, well, then we're not a good fit. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? It's like, fair enough.
Or the other side of it is then, it's like, so now we're talking about the price point. So it's like, okay, so so what I would like to see 5 times a week one-on-one. So that's 5 hours, me and you together, and that doesn't necessarily mean we're working hard for 5 hours. We can do one-on-one coaching, we can do meal plan and all that kind of stuff, but that would be the best. After that then, it's 4 hours. After that, it's 3 hours, and after that then, we get you onto what we've designed as, you know, all the benefits of personal training, but where we really bring in the price factor. It's like, so we'll take out the most expensive part, which is the one-on-one interaction, and so we'll put you in a group, but we'll still give you everything else.
And we'll still give you the one-on-one support with nutrition and accountability, whereas most people fall down. Whereas if we can get you into the group, there's good crack, there's good energy, we've got a flexible timetable from 5:30 in the morning until 7 o'clock in the evening. You know, and it's like, that really is the best.
Yeah.
You're in.
And now we have like a facility that, like, I mean, you couldn't want for anything in there. Yeah. Like we have, like now me and Chris have the ability to really do whatever we want with people. Yeah. You know, it's like, now it really is a case where
now there's we're not limited by equipment, we're not limited by space. It's like the world's your oyster. Hopefully, again, my kind of vision for it was like, I want to give you guys, and myself as well, you know, a blank canvas to now create the masterpiece. Because again, we are in the pursuit of creating the best possible program. People ask, what do you want to be? It's like, oh, well, it's not cheap. It's like, yeah, I don't sacrifice as much as I sacrifice and get up early to be cheap. That was like, who wants to be cheap? You know, and is that your goal? Is your goal? It's like, no, I want to be the best, and I want to have the best service that we can possibly provide, and that's kind of what we're in pursuit of.
And be able to, and again, to be fair, and still be able to include as many people as we could possibly include.
Because anybody who works full time, in my opinion, can afford 40 quid a week. You know, if you're working full time, like I feel it's a priority issue.
If you're working full time and your priorities shift to fitness and health, it's like you should be able to afford 40 quid a week. And if not, it's like, well, then you need to maybe it's going to take you 2 or 3 months to gear up financially and shift whatever momentum is building up in that financial category. But it's like, but realistically, it's like, it's not an absolute break. Like it's not 100 quid a week.
Yeah.
If it's not worth it to you, well then it's not worth it to you.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And what we're really trying to get across with this conversation, for anyone listening, maybe a member or thinking about joining up, all that kind of stuff, is like just really trying to get you to recognise like it's a completely different business model. It's not the same as a gym membership. But like I don't want to say despise, but I feel like there's just a lack of transparency in the traditional 30-40 quid a month gym membership, because the reality is, if you understand the business model, if you understand how much it costs to run, say, a 10,000 square foot facility with 5,000 euro treadmills, XYZs, like they need more members than they can actually facilitate to pay the bills and be profitable. You get what I'm saying? So like their business model is generally made, and I encourage people to call me out on this because it's true, is generally made from people not showing up. That's where they make their profit, from people not showing up. They can only genuinely facilitate. I think what is it? What was the status? I think it's like 10 to 15% of people use the gym membership regularly. You get what I'm saying? It's like, and that's just not an industry. That's just not a business that I want to be a part of. I want to help people genuinely change their lives, and I want to. We've got our kind of business model is like the coach to client ratio, or the coach to say team member ratio, because there's a lot of stuff beyond the coaching, like customer support, technical support, you know what I mean, all this other stuff that we do is said that like needs done. So it's like we've got like say like a 1 to 30 ratio, you know what I mean, for to team member to client, and that's kind of what the business is built off. It's like I said, we're full now because we're at capacity. Each coach's roster is full. That's as many people as we can service. So we're full. Whereas like the gym membership is never full. You know what I mean? It's just you just keep going and going and going and going. You know what I mean? So it's just a different model. So it's like,
and as well as that, it's like imagine going to the gym, and this is a common experience. People go to the gym and they can't do the squat rack.
Can't do the squat rack because there's only 2 squat racks, but there's 40, 50 people. It's like, yeah, it's like you'll always have equipment, you'll always have access to a coach, you'll always have XYZ when you sign up with us, because we're trying to make personal training more affordable to the regular person.
Next up, what do you think, or what could you tell people about what to expect when they're to show up for their first workout?
What to expect when they show up for the first workout? I think just expect to be challenged. You know, and expect to be challenged and kind of see, right, what kind of the whole concept of the new system is assess, address, progress. So it's like assess where are you starting from, and again, the good, the bad, and the ugly. A lot of people are humbled by the new system. There's a lot of nervous people because there's no hiding now, there's no bluffing. You've got a really good system now to assess exactly where you're starting off.
Okay, sorry.
All different
let me
metrics.
rephrase the question. What if somebody has yet to get tested? What could they expect? It's like, so if they
expect to be tested.
No, but obviously that's not going to be initial test straight off the jump. It's like in terms of like people who are familiar with.
No, but they essentially, that's saying they will be tested. You will be tested because we'll be kind of gearing up the workouts to get you ready to be tested. So through the process,
100%. And so that's what I mean. Obviously, we're not reinventing the wheel with the workouts. It's very similar to the level method. The level method very similar to the workouts we were already doing anyway.
Except for now we've got barbells and skipping ropes.
Yeah, and it's more structured and it's easier to kind of point and see where you're going and find
pull-up bars.
Find the roadmap. 100%. And so it's like, but I'm saying like in terms of the first workout, it's like, is it going to be the same as the old Fight and Fit? Is it going to be like, how is it going to be different? How is it going to be the same?
It's going to be the same as that. Like the energy hopefully is going to be the same. The energy hopefully is going to be better. We're going to have good sense. Hopefully, what I miss, especially with Fight and Fit now, is the kind of the sense of a community, which is something that I really miss. Yeah. And that's what I love, and that's why I feel. And that's why I feel like that's why I feel like it's even. And I hate to be blowing my own trumpet here or our own trumpet, but it's like that's why it's even better than one-on-one. There's better crack, there's better energy. Anyone's done one-on-one for a long time. It's like after a while, you build a good relationship, you have the good crack, you're counting sets and reps and XYZ. It's like a group workout, the energy in that.
There's a really cool feeling if you walk into one of the sessions and then one of your friends is at that. Like if me and you are free and we both walk into the same session, like you set up beside them and you're like, let's do this.
What weight are you lifting? You only got that little bit of connect.
You only got 20 there. I better be in the next one.
It's like this kind of thing of like positive peer pressure.
Yeah, or for people who are obviously not competitive and not confident, it's like you're not. It's like you're there and you realise, I'm not the weakest one here, or it's like even if you are the weakest one there, it's like there's other people doing.
Who were the weakest ones there?
Yeah, and there's no judgment.
And then your coach knows who the weakest one was before, and they know where you're at. You're like, you go over, you go.
And because of the
them.
level method, it's like they can really know more quickly, quickly and more easily.
Know where the weaknesses are.
Know what your weaknesses are, and tailor the workout to you on the spot. That's it. So anyone who is maybe a little bit nervous about coming back, it's like, generally, like the whole point of this system is to customize and personalize it even more. So if you feel like I'm going to be out of my depth, it's like, don't worry. It's like there's a level for you. You might be starting out, you might be white, you might be yellow. It's like, that's fine. But most people are yellow or orange starting off. Because again, this is new. You have been lifting weights and doing XYZ, doing a lot of bodyweight training stuff for the last year. It's like, yeah, that's fine. It's like, but approach it with a sense of humility and say, like, I'm willing to be a beginner, I'm willing to be coached, and I'm willing to as well. I'm willing to, bust my balls here and try and get blue, or purple, brown, black. Like I'm ready for the journey ahead.
And we're going to tell you about the
So is it?
Oh.
Yeah. So we'll be having wristbands and this kind of stuff too. But again, you don't necessarily have to wear it if you don't want to. So it's like this kind of thing. It's like I encourage you to do it. But at the same time, it's like it's the same as everything else. It's like you can take or leave as much as you want from the program. You get what I'm saying? Like,
obviously, it's not going to be mandatory wristbands, but the thing about it is, like, because I kind of like, it's like, it's like you, like I said, you humble people. It's like it's important to be humble. Like, it's like if you walk into this gym and it's your first time and you have to wear a white band, it's like the shame is not in being the beginner. It's like there's no shame in being the beginner. It's like nobody expects you to be, just what, like, this is something that people just have now in life. It's like everybody that you meet, it's like, not everybody you meet, I suppose that's a little bit, but an awful lot of people kind of have this attitude, is like, I'm expected to know it already. It's like you show up to something, well, you're already expected, like, to be 10 out of 10. It's like, that's so much pressure. Like, who can live up to that kind of pressure? It's like, whereas that's what, like, this is very similar to the grade system is very similar to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and their whole ethos is like, it's like, yeah, you're a white belt. It's like, yeah, you're a white belt.
Act like a white belt. Be humble.
Be humble. It's like, yeah, okay. It's like, but it's like.
But what's cool about that though is that, like, with jiu-jitsu, white belts just get humbled, like, straight away. Like, especially big ego white belts. It's like, all right, because every session you roll, they roll with a 2-stripe white belt. It's like, and they don't know anything. They might get the upper hand, but as soon as they roll with a blue belt, it's like, oh, it's different. This is a different game. It's like they don't have any other choice but to be humble, because they have the ego and then they have the experience of getting choked out and they have to tap. They have to go like, oh no, I can't.
Yeah, and if you are listening, remember, like, do reach out to us if you have any questions or concerns. If you're not sure about anything, if you even after listening to this, you're more nervous maybe than before. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully we did a decent job of kind of explaining it. But I said, there's no such thing as a silly question. We are here to help you. Reach out to us. Hopefully we'll be able to alleviate any concerns that you have. But the thing I want to get across is, be excited for the journey ahead. It's like, if you thought it was good before, wait till you see what we do now in the new facility. Genuinely.
We were like, I honestly just felt like as a PT, like, and I never realised that it's like, it's like that my wings were clipped. It was like, whereas now in the new place, I just feel like I can just like I said, with this blank canvas, I can just do so much. It's like, whereas, like, and again, it helps sharpen us as a PT, because, like, as you're limited, it's like the limitations of a game is what makes it fun.
Makes the game.
You know what I mean? It's like, and that's where you develop your skills. And then as the constraints kind of come off, it's like, but you still have all these skills. Like, now it becomes a lot easier. You know what I mean? So I'm very excited to coach people in this new place. And like I said, I'm very excited to give them the next tier of experience. Yeah.
And again, for anyone that has been with us over the last year, again, I just want to finish this by just saying, a genuine thank you. It is overall, like, if I can get across how overwhelmingly appreciative I am personally of you and your support, and not only that, but your commitment, your work ethic, actually showing up with a good attitude, being genuine, really, 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 really appreciate it. I genuinely cannot say that enough. And hopefully, again, that was one of the things good in this new facility, is like, after that first year, it was like, oh geez, we've actually didn't lose as many people as a lot of other people did. It's like, because I've got business mentors and coaches and stuff, and they can other people be showing their numbers and stuff. Like, geez, we've got a really tight, really good community of people here. And obviously, listen, some people left and XYZ, and through no fault of your own or external circumstances, that's cool. Come back, no hard feelings, whatever. We just love to get back into doing what we love.
We understand that everyone's situation is different.
And there's been
but at the same time, it was hard for everybody, and the ones that you're in, it's like, you are a true MVP, and one of the main reasons that gave us the confidence to take this big leap.
100%.
You gave us the confidence to take this big leap. The people who stuck with us if you've been a member for the full 15 months over the last year, you gave us the confidence to do this, and this is hopefully our way, bringing the service, bringing the workouts to that next level, is our way of saying thank you.
And there was also a few people out there who the home workouts weren't for them and were generally just patrons.
Yeah.
So it's people who paid a membership on a week by week basis, and it's like did not want to avail of the service but wanted to support us, and it's like that means leaps and bounds, because
can't believe that. It's absolutely insane.
I definitely know that like at least 10 people who did that, and it's because like they were like, well, you know what it is, although like this isn't what I said, I support you and I support you're doing that, and I want to make sure you're there, on the other side. That's
it's good, man. So guys, honestly, if it is really, really appreciated, we look forward to seeing you on the 7th. It's going to be amazing. I hope you really understand how grateful we are, and everybody who's been part of it the whole time. Because it's been like, what is it? It's like a 6-year journey now. You know what I mean? It's and we've grown, you've grown. It's been fantastic. Hopefully now this is the start of something new. Hopefully we don't get locked out again, and hopefully, in 6 months we're all the absolute best versions of ourselves. And thank you so much for listening.
you're a jerker.
Yeah. Cool. Guys, thanks so much. And again, thank you guys for your support. Again, it's a team effort. You guys are just as important as these guys. So let's kick it on. Let's go to the next level.
Peace.